The goal with this is a couple fold. We want something that is running around the clock that can collect leads, generate buyers, uh, ascend buyers. It's kind of like a silent middle of funnel. People don't typically think about it in this capacity, but it's nurturing through consumption. Um, it's a trade off compared to free content in that it's gated, so you're going to get less volume, but because it's gated and there's a bit more skin in the game, even a small financial commitment, you will get more intent through that consumption. They're consuming it with a different lens, even if they've paid a small amount to be there. We want it building our asset that compounds over time. It gives us a central point to send our traffic to from ads, from our socials, from any partner work that we do. And we just want it like living, breathing, constantly out there. All right. Some key fundamentals before we kind of dive into this. This is critical. So if you give me something to look at in Telegram and either I haven't seen your main offer or I don't know what you're doing with your main offer, expect me to push back and be like, what's the main offer? Because there's no point building a random low ticket offer or a random funnel like this if it's not congruent to the main thing, because otherwise you're just going to bring in a pool of people that are less likely or not likely at all to move up into your main offer. So I'm going to push back on that. Okay. It should be think of it like a bridge between two towns, a bridge between, one side of the bank and the other side of the bank, or one bank of the river, the other bank of the river. And it's there constantly, allowing people access from one thing to the next. And it's not to say that it has to be like one of my things floating out around there at the moment is this, right? And this is effectively the model that we're building out in here, and so it's very congruent. It's like, well, if you vibe with this, click here and let's build it. So it's super congruent. They don't always have to be that closely connected, but there needs to be some form of connection. It either needs to solve a very clear problem, like a specific problem that then your bigger model that you're helping people within the main offer is the next step. Or it needs to be one part of your bigger model. Like, there's a few ways that we can tackle it, but it needs to have a clear connection in some way. And the person that wants the low ticket thing or the person that wants the free thing should be, it should be reasonably foreseeable that they would also want the main thing off the back of that. Because if they're completely disconnected, you're wasting your time. All right. Specifically on the low ticket side of things, one thing I've noticed is um, a lack of specificity and a lack of um, they're not the most tangible things. It's not an absolute, like, you can definitely sell trainings and you can definitely sell workshops and stuff like that. But I think if you can even take that same concept and flip it into something more tangible or more real, or more narrow or more action based, it's going to serve you well. Like Brian comes to mind. We his was around helping people with brand messaging, and one of the bonuses was like a custom GPT that would kind of interview them and go through the process to arrive at that answer, rather than like a workshop or a training on that topic. What I suggested to him was, we'll make the custom GPT the offer. Make that the low ticket thing. And then if you want to put a training in with it, make that a bonus. Just because it's more real, it's more like what people are looking for at the moment. Everyone's getting excited about AI, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So templates and scripts and funnels have always done well for the marketing people. Or bundles of funnels. Just stuff that people can use more quickly. Right. And it might take a little bit of brain power to come up with it, but there'll be an answer. And then specificity across the board in terms of what problem does it solve, specificity in the solution, um, and specificity in the outcome. All three elements. What problem is it solving? What outcome is it achieving? And what's the solution, aka what's the thing that you're selling? And so if you look at this as an example, specific problem, specific solution, specific outcome, as best we can. The more we can dial that in, the better. We're typically looking in this like $7 to $100 price range. I recommend that you do a money back guarantee. It's not going to hurt you. Uh, Something that's like quick, so they can get it set up quickly. They can use it quickly. It doesn't mean they have to make $1 million, lose 30 pounds in that time, but they can use the thing that quickly. They can make progress. For our like marketing and business folks, like um, campaigns that you've run, uh, in even in the fitness space, this is where like short detox plans and like things that where it's like a 72-hour thing that might then lead into your broader offer, right? Like if you've got a broader fitness offer that has some unique attributes, and every client that you take through goes through this like 72-hour detox before they get into their broader plan, like that's the thing you'd pull out. Run this over 72 hours, and here's all the things that you're going to experience or likely to experience. So something faster. Mm. That's important. Not making it so unbelievable. I think those internet marketing days are beyond us. Like with this, we've used this same template to do up to 50K clients. But if I led with that, the number of people that want to sign 50K clients, the number of people that believe they can sign 50K clients, um, it just narrows the market so much. And the number of people that believe that you could sign them with this type of vehicle, right? Yeah, did they believe? Whereas 2K is a lot more believable. So believability is your friend. Like actually valuable bonuses. So one of the bonuses in here is a workshop that if they go to my website, they can actually buy separately for $100. So it's like of actual value. Solve adjacent problems. So that the main thing feels like a no-brainer. So with this, I give away my content workshop, because what people then ask is, well, how do I get people to request the doc? And that ties into upsells and stuff as well, which we'll talk about. You ideally want it to be immediate delivery. Then your emails and stuff can kick in from there. You've now got buys, blah, 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 blah. All right. Put, for most people, my advice is typically put more upsells in. People are really hesitant about putting upsells in. It's like free money. If you're trying to make ads work without them, you're making your life harder, if not impossible. Because the people that you're competing against that know what they're doing have them. And people that you're competing against may very well may be prepared to spend in excess of the average order value on the front end because they know that their back end is so fat. And they're the people that you're competing against. So if you've got a $7 front end offer with no upsells, or even if you do have upsells, but you're not prepared to spend beyond the first conversion because you want profit immediately, you're going to get killed. The further that you can move your break even point into your value ladder, the more you've got to spend, the more you're going to. Yeah. So there you go. That's some of the people that you're competing against. And I've articulated this to you guys as well. Like when I showed you my kind of broader vision for what I'm building, right? Ultimately, the goal is that this just all gets reinvested into ads. to grow the bigger brand. And so if you're in the business and the marketing space, and I can every $2,000 sale, I can drop back into my ads, my break even point is way further along because I don't need the money, right? Because I can make money up here. And so put upsells in. It's the lesson. Like sell more stuff. Otherwise you're just making life way too hard for yourself. And I don't say all that stuff to scare or like it's just the reality. That's just who you're competing against from an ads perspective. And then what also happens when you actually upsell people is you're giving them more stuff to consume, which is more time spent with you, which then helps the conversion into the core offer. So it's more indoctrination into your philosophies, your strategies, your way of thinking, etc. Okay. And then this is something that I started doing, particularly in the last kind of 6 months, and I kind of kicking myself that I didn't have the moment of clarity around it earlier. Um, it's not necessarily you have to make a whole new funnel, but you can just spin out these different front doors. And so what I'm doing now is probably every other week I'm creating like a new free resource. They're really quick for me to create at this point, and I pay attention to the ones that either do well on YouTube, get a really good response on Instagram or Facebook or in the group. But then, really, in particular, I pay attention to the ones that get people to buy stuff. And there's a chance if that free resource is tipping people in, probably worth running some ads to, right? And then it just literally sits in front of the identical rest of the funnel. And this is why I'm calling it the master passive funnel. So, like this one is a new little test I'm running at the moment. I lobbed, I pulled together 10 emails that each mate, as the name implies, and then did a reel on Instagram, did a post on my profile, did a post in my group, and did a YouTube video. And it got a couple of people to jump in off the back of it, off a very soft push. And so to me, that's a decent sign. And it's also really congruent to everything else. And so I'll put a little bit of budget behind it and see how we go. Okay. And so that's how we can spin up these front doors. But if you go opt in, you land back in the same place. The main low ticket thing that I'm pushing at the moment. And that'll have its day. That'll burn out at some point, and I'll need to come up with something different. But that's okay. That's the game. And so this allows us to create different doors into ultimately the same machine. And I think that's the power of it. Is this is the only thing that's different, right? This is and then obviously the resource getting delivered is unique to the thing that they opt in for. But then from that moment that email enters the system, everything is the same. The low ticket offer that they see, the automated emails that they get are the same. The YouTube videos, the remarketing ads are the same. The main offer that they're ultimately moving towards is identical. And so we can create different entry points that are going to talk to different sections of the market. We can create diversification in terms of not being fully dependent on one funnel. We can do this cool stuff without layering in complexity. Okay, so that's just a couple of fundamental points that I wanted to get on the table.